It's a lovely good afternoon, and you are joining us live from our studios here in Ibex, where we are giving you nothing but the best updates in terms of sports. Welcome to Off the Pitch, and I'm your host, Amos, or aka Amore. And I'm not alone today. I'm with Ango Rabson, who was away last weekend, where Augustine was in, and then Ango Rabson went to cover other good stuff. So Ango Rabson, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, dear viewers, and it's good to be back on the show. It's been a lovely, lovely week, and it was full of activities. And as usual, we thank God that we are able to come live on TV and discuss nothing but what we like to do the most, which is football. And good to see you.
I know. Anyway, let's kick the ball. Let's make the ball roll. Ango Rabson, as we know, last week we said that you went to cover some events, but I think for me the biggest one that you went to cover was the Nkana issue, where they were unveiling Kayindu as their new coach. You can just brief us on how it was.
Firstly, I'm glad that I had to see and just cover that particular event. And you know, Nkana hasn't had a coach from the time one based on Jambe. She left to go and join Kansanshi Dynamos, and we've had an interim coach in Manfred Chabinga for slightly over a year. And now time had to come when management, Nkana FC, headed by one Joseph Sirwamba, our president, had no choice but to find a coach who's been given a strict target of the 2020 to 2021 season of defending the title for Nkana. And his goals, his terms of reference are very, very clear, and they're outlined in black and white. And Coach Kayindu, we all know Coach Kayindu, that he's a young, upcoming coach who's had stints in Zimbabwe, where he had a run with 3 different clubs. Unfortunately, he had no success in any of the clubs, and he came back to join Power Dynamos. From Power Dynamos, I think he went to Buttecon. From Buttecon, where we saw in the first week of this month, he was unceremoniously not renewed his contract. And finally, he is a lucky man. Within a few weeks, he lands a very, very top job of of Nkana Football Club as head coach, and we can only wish him all the best. And for me, really, if you ask me, he's got everything to gain and nothing to lose by accepting that job. It's a very, very difficult job. It comes with a lot of demands. He's coming at a time when Nkana had a very, very deep dive in terms of resources and in terms of performance. We were very, very down, very, very deep down. Actually, we lost quite a number of good players, and for him to accept a job when the seat is very hot, he must be very, very prepared psychologically for all the ups and downs that coaches go through at Nkana. But for sure, I have no doubt that he's going to do a good job.
I think I saw something posted by Idris Mbombo saying he was glad that now there was a coach unveiled. But as we all know, Nkana is a very, very, very big team for me, and I don't know when you weigh the two. You put Kayindu here, and then here is a big club that we look up to in terms of Zambians.
With big players.
With big players. I know. I don't know. Would you say he'll manage to defend the title?
It's too early to call for that. We started very poorly, and I think Nkana started very, very poorly this season. But when you see the current statistics and the positive trajectory of Nkana Football Club, I think it's on the rise. We have all seen how Idris Mbombo has risen to the occasion and winning games for Nkana Football Club. And precisely, to be very honest, every game that we have won this season has been influenced by Idris Mbombo. And for me, all the coach needs to do is gel the players, take the players into understanding each other on the pitch, let them create a team and not a squad of brilliant individuals. And for me, really, that is a very, very important role that he has to do. He's not going to teach any player how to play football. Those guys already know how to do the job. It's a matter of finding the right combination, the right fix in the squad that will make them succeed as a team. And for me, Idris Mbombo, he's risen to the occasion a couple of times. And as a captain, I loved his speech, his welcome speech for the coach. It was purely a situation where the coach is, the captain is accepting that now we have the coach. We can only wish him all the best. As players, we'll do our part. He needs to do his part. And together, we are going to succeed as a team. So for me, positive trajectory for Nkana, great joining by Kelvin Kaindu. He has everything to prove. Everything to prove. He hasn't had a very, very good background in terms of coaching. He's got one of the best qualifications of a coach in this country. But an opportunity fell for him at ButeCon. Results didn't come his way. And probably one of the things I feel is a challenge that was at ButeCon is a combination of a lot of players who are very good individually, but coming together as a team, forming one team, has always been difficult. It's this season that we are seeing probably Kelvin Kaindu's work towards building a ButeCon side that is now proving to be a force to reckon with on the Zambian scene in this season, because they are currently log leaders. Maybe I'm convinced to accept that the work that he had started to do at ButeCon is the work that is beginning to be seen now at ButeCon, except one Mubanga, the proprietor of ButeCon Football Club, is not very patient with results. He wants immediate results, and probably that's the reason why they didn't renew his contract. But all this work that we are seeing, all these results that we are seeing at ButeCon, probably they can be attributed to the efforts that Kelvin Kaindu put in training before he left the club.
Anyway, for me, I would just say maybe I would just wish him all the best as he leads the Kalampa. Kalampa. Anyway, but for me, I would say, since you've said he was building a ButeCon team, but now he's come to Nkana where it's already built.
I disagree with that fact. You see, Nkana Football Club, yes, it's there. I'm likening the same situation at ButeCon, where ButeCon, remember, ButeCon challenged for Tsambalungu to be bought from
Russia, is it Russia?
They challenged the club to activate a release clause for Tsambalungu to come back and play for ButeCon in Zambia. So when you see the type of players that ButeCon had, they failed to create a team that can play together. So the work that Kelvin was doing is exactly what I feel Nkana's situation is at the moment. Because when you look at Nkana Football Club, they have all the players, they have all the names. But playing together as a team has not yet started to show results. And this is where Kelvin Kaindu's job lies, to bring those players together, pick the right combination, the right fix of players. Then we'll begin to see the results. We can only wish him all the best, like you have said.
Anyway, we wish him all the best. And for our viewers who are just joining us, you are watching Off the Pitch, the show that gives you nothing but the best in terms of sports. And you can also watch us live. That's on our Facebook page, which is Camnet TV. Follow it, like it, and you'll be able to watch us live. We had games and corruption within the course of the weekend. We'll start with the same game, Nkana against Kitwe United, where you said it earlier to say all the maybe most of the games that Nkana has won.
All of them.
It's all of them.
This season.
Through the effort of Idris Mbombo.
One Idris Ilunga Mbombo. Let's
look at the result. A good welcoming result for Kaindu. Nkana beating Kitwe United by 2-0.
Leave Kaindu out of that game. He was not even on the bench. Kaindu's job starts on Wednesday.
A welcoming game for him.
Oh,
I
of course,
say
yeah. So. The players responded positively with the news that we have a new coach in Kelvin Kaindu. After being unveiled, they went onto the pitch. They showed the coach that you have joined us. This is the level we are at. We're able to win games. You're coming. Should make us win more games, because you haven't found us losing. He's joined them at a time when they are on a positive trajectory of results, and now the coach needs to pick it up from there and just move on. For me, credit goes to one Kaunda, the assistant coach, the one who's been assisting Manfred Chabinga. I think that guy has done some very, very good work. Very, very good work in terms of preparing the squad. We have seen that even in the absence of Manfred Chabinga, he has won 2 games. as a sitting-in coach temporarily after the departure of one Manfred Chabinga. He has won 2 games, and those 2 games are probably attributed to the combination of the players that he wants, because every coach has their own choice of things.
So
the game against Kitwe United that you asked me, that's a very, very tricky derby for me. It's a real derby. The derby that Power Dynamos has risen to the occasion, and everybody dubs it as a derby. For those of us who've been following games in Kitwe, the biggest derby from way back in memorial has been Kitwe United versus Nkana Football Club. Power Dynamos has come to the scene. Yes, it's an exciting game because Kitwe United has been on and off. Premier League, back to Division 1, back to the Premier League. That is why they've been overshadowed by the Power Dynamos game as a derby of Kitwe. But for me, I think Kitwe United, they're a good side. Chengalika has done what he can, and the council-sponsored side probably just likes the caliber of players that can rise to the occasion and just maintain that club in the Premier League. The game on Wednesday ended 2-0. We saw Idris Ilunga Mbombo with both goals in the first half, and the second half was kind of boring. There were no goals in the second half, and the game ended 2-0. Credit to Nkana Football Club, and they are on the rise. For me, that's a good preparatory match for the upcoming game against Pedro of Angola on Wednesday. I think their mindsets are prepared in such a manner that we are coming from a positive trajectory of 2 wins out of 2, and now we are going into this Champions League game against the Angolan side. For me, that is a very, very good result for them to prepare psychologically for the next game.
I think for at least, I think, a week or so last week, we saw Mayuka flooding the internet. He was all over the internet. Mayuka is back, Mayuka is back, Mayuka is back. But we saw an Absa Stars team that drew with Power Dynamos, and Mayuka wasn't on the score sheet. But anyway, looking at both teams, I would say Power has, I would say, maybe invested more in the team, but I feel like the results that they are giving are not that up to date. Angor Rabson, your take on this? For me, I would say poor results.
For me, Power Dynamos, really the pressure that they had immediately after they got one perimeter pan, Masao Sotembo, to come and head the technical bench. The performance they had in that particular season, last season, had a lot of promises to the fans, because what I was seeing as a fan and a person who follows football, I thought Power Dynamos this season would be a very, very huge force to reckon with. The results I'm seeing now and the way they started the season from midway to the end of the season last season, the performance of the squad that we saw and where they are now doesn't show the correct picture of where Power Dynamos should be. We saw that game where they were trailing by 2-1 most of the time in that match against Napsa Stars. Not until a very, very dramatic goal in the 94th minute. And, I was wondering why certain goalkeepers behave like that. Really, up to now, fellow viewers, you will forgive me. Those of you who watched that match, you will understand the pain of one Muhammad Fati. Because the game had ended. It was in the 94th minute. 90 plus 4. The goal that Napsa Stars conceded against Power Dynamos, the second goal for the game to draw level, was probably a pass from deep inside their own area. It was a pass to the strikers. The goalkeeper came off his line. I don't know where he wanted to go. He came off his line. The ball bounced 5 meters ahead of him. The ball went over his head. He started chasing it until he went and picked it in the back of the net. For me, when you look at all that, it becomes an issue. And for me, sorry to say this, some of these professionals that we are beginning to accept in the country as pros, and we are even giving them work permits, we've got better goalkeepers in Zambia that can do a better job. We shouldn't accept mediocre performances from players like that. Because for me, it wasn't even an issue of Napsa Stars has lost that match. Of course, they didn't lose, by the way. Don't mistake me for that.
They drew.
For me, it's like a loss. The pain they had in drawing that match, when you look at the effort of the players, of course they lost as a team, they win as a team, they lose as a team. But in that particular match, the goalkeeper, for me, I can single-handedly single him out. And probably he had the longest journey from Kitwe to Lusaka on a bus, because I'm sure he was being teased by his fellow players along the way to say, you've costed us the match, because there was no danger in him coming out to go and attack a ball where his defenders are. So the defenders created space. He came out, the defenders were running towards the ball together with the striker. There was no danger whatsoever. Even the guy who kicked the ball, who eventually scored, probably he didn't, they just reminded him that you have scored. Because it was a very, very silly mistake, a very, very bad goalkeeping mistake for me, if you ask me.
Let's look at this.
And now, you see, they are going into a game on Tuesday against UD Songo of Mozambique with such performances of allowing goals unnecessarily. They have a lot of work to do on Tuesday anyway.
Anyway, we hope Muhammad Fatih had done his homework. Forest Rangers and Rapson. Forest Rangers beating Beautycon, the side that you would say was being built by Kaindo.
Forest Rangers, 1TC. Apparently this match, if you ask me, Amos, this match was actually controversially won. I heard a couple of comments. Apparently I didn't have an opportunity to watch the game. But from the people that watched the match, officiating was not on point. But we will not dwell so much into officiating, because officiating and discussions about referees are not our portion. We just discuss results and the state of affairs.
Yeah.
Forest Rangers managed to come out victorious in that particular game. And you know, Forest Rangers, they've been kicked out of continental football.
So their concentration now is on the
league. So they have everything to throw in every match. And for me, regardless of the performance of the team, the momentum of them winning a match, whether they win it clean or bad, is none of our business. The results are going their way, and as we speak, Forest Rangers, for me, they will probably mount some serious challenge to the league, because that's the only concentration they have at the moment.
So in short,
for Beautycon, it was very, very disappointing. And you know, I took time to listen to the words of Mr. Mubanga, the proprietor of the Beautycon owner. His complaint was purely on officiating. He says, what else can we do as a team? You've done everything you need to do on the pitch, in and out, literally preparing for the match, preparing for the actual game. You go on the pitch, you perform. Then a third party influences the result. He must have been very, very hurt. His comments were not very good for the ref. And for me, it's high time that these guys who are managing the referees, I think they should start reviewing some of these games for results to be showing according to what the outcomes are of each match. The match commissioners, I know they do their own reports, but I think it should not just end on the reports. We should be seeing more of these trainings, refresher courses for the referees.
Should I say, because I think this is not the first complaint that we've had towards officiating. I think for this season alone, officiating has been bad.
You see, when you use that blanket statement to say officiating has been bad, you're also taking away some officials who have been very good. So it's some officiating of the matches. I've witnessed two, which were very terrible. We spoke about them, I think some 3, 4, 5 shows ago. And we can only ask the referees to be very firm, be authoritative, and apply the rules of the game accordingly, so that the results can go. It's very hating to see a referee walking out of the pitch after the match, surrounded by cops. Why? Because probably the decisions that he's been making on the pitch have been very bad. And now the fear is that fans might pounce on them. I want to see a referee like Mr. Skazwe. I was watching the game, Napsa Stars, last week. He was the ref managing the game. You know what he did after the match? Everybody was smiling at him. That's what we need. Not where you are the ref, the game is ending. You want to scamper for your own safety, really.
People are throwing in bottles.
No. They need to up their game. My plea to the referees' body is that let's apply the rules and enjoy the game. The fans will not have issues with officiating if it's on point.
Let's look at the game that was played yesterday. Zesco drawing against Green Eagles, where we even saw the news of one midfielder for Zesco United, Inoki Sabumukama, leaving the club. which was something else.
I agree. I watched the match. Towards the end of the match, we even had some rains trying to play its role on the game, but it was a 50-50 game. I didn't see the Zesco United that I was expecting. I didn't see the Green Eagles team that I was expecting. Probably they were being very cautious because they have a game on Wednesday in Osaka at Nkoloma Stadium. It was a game which was like very tight. I couldn't see the anger, the zeal, the willingness to push and score in Green Eagles. Of course, they had a couple of chances where you would blame the finishers. The same for Zesco United. They also had their own opportunities, but the game ended in a stalemate. One thing I've liked about Zesco United is I had an opportunity to listen to their CEO, Richard Mulenga, who clearly stated that going forward, before the end of this season, Zesco United is trimming foreign-based players to 5. That's the decision that Zesco United has made.
Okay.
So the non-renewal of Enoch Sabumkama, I think it's
the beginning.
It's in line
with that same
with the new policy at Zesco United Football Club, which is very, very good for Zambian football, if you ask me. The number of foreign players that have flooded our league is just too much. And I saw the two coaches busy giving instructions, making changes, but the results did not change. It remained the same.
Anyway, for those who are just joining us, like I said earlier, this is Off the Pitch, and we are trying all our level best to give